we're going to begin our first verse, and beginning with the 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 12. All right. So today's class is going to be about the oncoming and pending trials and tribulation that's about to face our people, and what is going to be your weapon to fight against what's coming upon this earth. It's not going to be so much the money that you have, the garbage, but what's in this book is going to be vital to our salvation. But before you get that, Yaikwa, go to Isaiah 33 and 6. Isaiah 33 and 6. All right, because what's found in this book is a lot of treasure, a lot of hid treasure, and salvation that's going to be needed for our people in these last days. All right, words of wisdom, knowledge. Yeah, we can't put one there sometime over there. Isaiah 33 and 6.
Yeah. Reading from the book of Isaiah 33, verse 6. And the wisdom and the knowledge shall be the stability of thy time.
So stop right there. So in the book of Isaiah 33 and 6, it says, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. This is what is going to keep us stable, keep us functioning from losing our faculties. The wisdom and knowledge of the Most High is going to keep us stable in these last days. Read that verse again.
And the wisdom and the knowledge shall be the stability of thy time, and the strength of thy salvation.
See, and that's going to be the strength of our salvation in these last days. It's not how much money you have, how much education you have, how much PhDs, how many bachelor degrees you have, what you know, but it's going to be based on the wisdom and knowledge of the Bible of the Most High, what He has given us, what you have retained, and what you have kept as your faith. All right? So lose that. Go to Revelation 1 and 3, and then we go to the book of 1 Peter 4 and 12. Revelation 1 and 3, and then we're going back to the book of 1 Peter 4 and 12.
Reading from the book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 3. Blessed is he that readeth.
So he said, blessed is he that readeth. Go ahead.
Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the word of this.
And they that hear the words of this prophecy, go ahead.
And keep those things which are written therein.
And keep those things which are written therein. Go ahead.
For the time is at hand.
For the time is at hand. What time? The time of the Most High's judgment and the time of our deliverance from this great captivity. All right? There's more to it?
No, that's it.
Okay, now go to the book of 1 Peter 4 and 12.
Reading from the book of 1 Peter 4 and 12. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the love. Think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you.
Read a verse again.
Reading from the book of 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 12. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you.
Right. So we're not supposed to think it's strange when we're going through these fiery trials. All right? These fiery trials are needed for us to refine us, to make us perfect and upright servants of the Most High. All right? So, we're going to go into our class. And the reason why I'm bringing this up because these are the things that's going to happen to us in these last days. As children of the Most High, you're going to be tried. All right? Now, let's from there go to Revelation, the 15th chapter. All right, read the first verse.
Reading from the book of Revelation, chapter 15, verse 1. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous.
Go ahead.
And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous. 7 angels having the 7 last plagues.
Right. So these angels are going to have the 7 last plagues that the Most High is going to plague this earth with. But these are the Most High's judgments that He's bringing forth in the earth. So these angels had the 7 last plagues. Go ahead.
For in them is filled up the wrath of God.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire.
Right, so John was looking up into the spiritual realm, what we call the ozone layer. So that's what he was seeing when he was looking up into the heavens. All right, go ahead.
And them that had gotten the victory over the beast.
Stop right there and said, them that had gotten the victory over the beast. What is that victory over the beast that he was referring to? Read that verse again. And them that have gotten the victory over the beast.
And them that had gotten the victory over the beast.
Now, what is the victory over the beast that he was referring to? Those of us that did not succumb to the beast system and to his attempts that he wants to do to us. Because when you stand up, it's going to be a persecution against you. But in the end, you're going to get a reward from the Most High for standing against the beast. But those of us that give in, you're going to get a sword, death, and destruction. So continue reading that verse again.
And them that had gotten the victory over the beast.
Right, go ahead.
And over his image.
And over his image, go ahead.
And over his mark.
And over his mark. This is the mark of the beast system that's coming into play now. His mark, his image. All right, go ahead.
And over the number of his name.
And over the number of his name, which comes out to 666. Which is anything that's in opposition against the Most High. That's the mark of the beast. It's in digital codes, but it also refers to a system of this man that's in opposition to the Most High and to his people. Go ahead.
Stand on the sea of glass.
And we're going to stand on the sea of glass, which is the victory. Go ahead.
Having the harp of God.
Having the harp of the Most High. Go ahead.
And they sing the song of Moses.
And we're going to sing the song of Moses, which is that victory song.
The servant of God.
Mm-hmm.
And the songs of the Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, great and marvelous are thy works. Lord God Almighty, just and true are thy way. Thou King of saints, who shall not fear thee?
Right, who's not going to fear the Most High in these last days? The Most High is going to show people in the earth that there is a power, there is a God. Okay, the Most High is going to show his power using the left-hand side of this kingdom. So what's coming in the earth is coming from the Most High, but he's using his left hand to bring it, to show the people that they have no other result or recourse but to turn to the Most High. That's what he's going to show. Right? Continue.
And to glorify thy name.
And to glorify his name. Go ahead.
For thou only art holy. For all nations shall come and worship before thee.
Right. So all nations eventually going to come to worship before the Most High. And why is that going to be done? Because when the Most High bring forth his judgments upon the nations. Go ahead.
For thy judgment are made manifest.
See, before his judgment is going to be made manifest in the earth. Go ahead.
And after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was open. And the seventh angel came out of the temple, having the seven plagues, clothed in pure and white.
So who's bringing these plagues? Who's bringing the plagues? The Most High, by using the angels. Okay, he's bringing the plagues in the earth. Okay, and why is he doing it? Because of the wickedness of the people in the earth. All right, go ahead.
And having their breasts girded with golden girdles, and one of the four beasts gave unto the seventh angel 7 golden vials, full of the wrath of God.
See, full of the wrath of the Most High. Okay, go ahead.
Who will live forever and ever.
What verse you in?
Verse 8.
Okay, continue.
And the temple was filled with smoke from the glory of God and from his power.
So John was looking into the heavens and he's seeing in the Most High's temple. He was seeing all these visions. Right? Go ahead.
And no man was able to enter into the temple till the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were fulfilled.
Right. And that's the time we're living in. Okay? Now, from there, let's go to the book of Daniel.
Daniel?
The book of Daniel. And start from Daniel, the 3rd chapter, the 1st verse. I'm going to give you an example of what was taking place during the time of Daniel. And it's working its way up again today to the same thing, but more on a higher and more evil level. But before you go to that, go to the book of 1 Timothy, the 3rd chapter.
Timothy, the 3rd chapter.
Actually, Second Timothy.
First Timothy.
Second Timothy, the 3rd chapter. My bad. 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter, and the 1st verse.
I'm reading from 2 Timothy. He said the 2nd chapter.
2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter, 1st verse.
Real quick. Now, 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come.
Stop right there. So, Paul is letting us know, Timothy is letting us know. He said, know this, that in the last days, this is the last days. The last days of what?
Last days of this system is
The
coming.
last days of this wicked ruling empire, which is the 4th beast, the Roman Empire. This is the last days of this wicked Roman Empire, the end of this rule. Okay, that's what it's talking about. The end of the Gentiles' wicked rule in this earth. And all praise to the Most High. He said, know this, that in the last days, what shall come?
Perilous times shall come.
And what does the word perilous mean?
Dangerous.
Dangerous. We live in one of the most dangerous times upon the face of the earth. Okay? One of the most dangerous and most evilest time upon the face of the earth. We live in a time now where a man could become a woman and a woman become a man. with no problem. Okay? Where they could change your DNA easily with no problem. Just for the use of a microchip, nanotechnology, they could change and reform your DNA structure and change you into what they want to program you to be. Okay? We live in a very evil and perilous time, man. Especially when you could change a man to a woman. That's a hell of a thing, man. Then the next couple of months, you see the man, you're like, wait a minute, weren't you a man just a couple months ago? Now he's a woman. That's a dangerous and serious thing, man. Or vice versa. You elaborate.
And they make them have babies too.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Could have babies, man. You know, we live in a very perilous time, man. You know what I mean? And it's perilous also to the fact that what they're doing to the food. Okay? The things that they're doing to the food, man. We don't know half the story that they're doing to the food, man. That's why the Most High said the children of Israel shall eat the defiled food amongst the Gentiles. Everything that we eat is defiled. So when you say, I'm a vegetarian, listen, everything we eat is defiled, man. It's only by the grace of the Most High that we really surviving, man. But everything that we eat and that's made by our enemies is defiled. Okay? It has unnatural things in it. Pork. Okay? Things that you like make you scratch your head like, why would you put that in basic as food? Why would you put that? You know what I'm saying? So we living in one of the most evilest time. At least when you go back 1,000 years, it wasn't that bad. But now, because of they are technology and the phase that they're moving into to make everything what you call what's the term I should use?
Transhumanism.
No, but the term that they use where they make everything easier and what's the right word I'm looking for? Where's accessible, where it's easier, is easy access to obtain. They make everything such on a level now that it's so easy to access whatever you want through technology. Like, let me give you an example. Example of go back 300 years ago when you had to do sugar cane. What was the process in doing the sugar cane? You have to chop it, you have to get the manpower, you have to get the slaves to put it into the process it, all the wrong processes to get the different, break it down to the, now you don't have to do that no more. What do you do now? Machinery, and it uses artificial ingredients and everything unnatural to give it to you right to your table. Yeah, Judah. Huh? Well, yeah, that too, they're cloning the food too. A lot of stuff is cloned too. But everything that was done the natural way a century ago, it's not done that way no more. Your food is mass produced now, manufactured.
It's not real.
It's not real.
Artificial flavor.
It's coming through assembly line.
Chemicals.
You understand? Chemicals. You know? And just to the mere fact that the Most High made natural food, natural rice, sugar, and then for him to come and unnaturally unbleach and change it, that shows you a diabolical mindset. You know what I mean? And why is it done? To destroy the process that the Most High made and to destroy the people. But it's mainly targeted at us. Not so much the mass of the people, but us. It's targeted at us. Because if we could remain defiled and destroyed, they figured the Most High would destroy us and not take us back to Him. Because remember, the Most High said, your body is your temple. You understand? And your temple has to be what? Holy to the Most High. So if they could continue defiling us, then the Most High is like, damn, I can't take you, accept you. But like I said, it's only because of the grace and mercy of the Most High. Alright? So where we read that verse again, Labram?
We have 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come.
And that's the time we're living in, perilous times. Go ahead.
Verse 2. For men shall be lovers of their own
And
selves,
that's a fact. That's a fact. We see that today. Go ahead.
covetous,
Covetous. Go ahead.
boasters,
Boasters.
Proud.
Proud. That's all we have to. Boasters. People are proud. Okay. Go ahead.
blasphemers,
Blasphemers. That's all you have to. People blaspheming. There's no God. God didn't make this. I did this myself. God ain't did jack for me. I went out there and I did this for myself. Where was God? Where was He? People talk trash against the Most High. If there was a God, why He allowed my child to die? Why is people suffering? So, why is people suffering? Because mankind has went away from the ways of the Most High. So the Most High gave you into your own course and your own desires. We didn't want the way of the Most High. So the Most High said, you don't want to deal with my ways? I'll step back and I'll let you deal with the enemy. The enemy will be your God. So people have become blasphemers against the Most High. They are blaspheming the Most High to the point where they said, you know, they don't even have no respect for the Most High.
Person.
They will curse the Most High. Don't even mention who God. Don't even mention that name, brother.
Mother Nature.
Mother Nature did everything, flip the script against the Most High. But the Most High, like I said, the Most High is unleashing those plagues with those angels. And the Most High is going to show who's the power. When this goes down, the Most High is going to show man who you have to return back to and who's going to be your refuge in the last days. Especially our people. Okay, go ahead.
Disobedient to parents.
Oh man, that thing is so true, man. That thing is it's evident today, man. Disobedient to parents, man. All right, go ahead.
Unthankful.
Unthankful.
Unholy.
Unholy. That's all we have today, man. Go ahead.
Without natural affection.
Without natural affection. People don't have natural affection. That's why Yahweh said, for the love of many shall wax cold. All right? The hearts of people that are wax cold, man. Because of iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. The more sins increase, the more people tend to love. But that only have to come from a few people in the earth, a few selected people, the people of the Most High, the servants of the Most High, that understand what the Most High is doing and why these things are happening. All right, go ahead.
Truth breakers.
Truth breakers, go ahead.
False accusers.
False accusers, a lot of false accusers going on today. False accusing going on today. Go ahead.
Incontinent.
Incontinent, go ahead.
Fierce. Despisers of those that are good.
And that's all we have today. Go ahead.
Verse 4. Traitors.
A lot of traitors, man. You got a lot of traitors today, man. That thing is so evident, man. Go ahead.
Petty. High-minded. Lovers of pleasures more than lovers of the Most High.
And that's so true. Lovers of pleasures more than lovers of the Most High. All right? So they ain't lying about nothing. When Timothy wrote that, he wasn't lying about nothing. Each item, each word that he wrote is self-evident today, the things that are happening today. All right? Go ahead.
Verse 5. Having a form of godliness.
Having a form of godliness. Go ahead.
But denying the power thereof.
But denying the Most High thereof. Go ahead.
From such turn away. For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts.
Right, and that's what certain men do. That was it, Labrine?
Well, verse 7
Verse
now.
7. That's for him.
Yeah, read 7, yeah.
Ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth.
And that goes for a lot of our people. They're forever learning, but never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. All right? I just want to it.
Now as Janus and Jambres withstood Moses.
Right, so these were the two back in Egypt that withstood Moses. They tried to go against Moses by using witchcraft. Okay? When Moses was there with Pharaoh, and Moses turned Pharaoh, staff into a, no, let me get it right. Moses, Pharaoh's serpent, Moses turned into a staff. And they try to do the same thing to go against Moses, to oppose Moses. So those were the two men that were what you call the soothsayers. They were going against Moses when he was going up against the Pharaoh of Egypt. So they was trying to oppose Moses, but the Most High made their witchcraft to naught. And that goes for a lot of our people that are in opposition to the Most High words and His truth. The Most High is going to bring all of their gainsaying and their words and what they're doing to nothing against the Most High. All right? All right, so from there, go to the book of Daniel, the 3rd chapter. I want to cover a lot of grounds today, all right? So we're going to move a little faster. Daniel, the 3rd chapter.
Which verse?
Start from the first verse, Daniel 3 and 1.
Now Daniel, chapter 3, verse 1. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold, whose height was 80 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits.
So he made a big statue, a big idol, for all the people to worship, bow down and worship. Okay? So everything today is based on what? Idol worship and serving of the beast system, which is serving Satan. Everything is in opposition against the Most High to worship the system of the beast. Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, that's about 120 feet high.
Check that out, man.
So that's almost like today,
That's like
12
what?
stories high.
How much?
12 stories.
Goodness gracious, man. Wow. You can't miss that. You can't miss that idol. You have to, when you see it, man. Right?
So it's like 120 feet by 120 in birth.
Wow.
Because 6, that's 120 inches. So it was 10 feet wide.
Wow. And then he overlaid it with gold, right?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious, man.
That's a lot of gold.
That's a lot of gold, man. But then you have to see the intent of what he was doing. The intent of what he was doing to have the minds of the people set on worshiping that false idol. To take them away from worshiping the Most High. All right? But in doing that, one particular person said, hell no, I'm not doing it. So let's continue on.
He set it up in the plain of Dura, in the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent together the princes and governors and the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the province to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up.
So he called all these people, man, okay? Nobles, treasurers, the counselors, the sheriff, just like today. They set up all these different people to push their agenda. All right, go ahead.
Verse 3. Then the princes, the governors and captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up.
See, so they're preparing this old grand appearance for what they're going to push forth. All right, go ahead.
Verse 4. Then an herald cried aloud to you is commanded, O peoples, nations, and languages, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, delusima, and all kinds of music, ye shall fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up.
So he said, when you hear the sound of all these musical instruments, you bow down and worship the image. Now, why were they using music? Straight to the point, Zachariah.
Yeah, I would say because to have them, how should I say, so they won't feel so upset this and the third, trying to, appease them in a way, you know what I'm saying, right?
You kind of on the track. You're quite on track. Why music? What does music do to people?
Music in a way is almost hypnotic. The frequency alone brings you into almost a trance.
Right. Go ahead, Karaza.
It's a charm.
Right. Music is a charmer. Music could either set the pace to do or don't.
Right.
Music could move you. Remember Bob Marley said, one good thing about music, when it hits you, you feel no pain. All right?
It's a control.
It's a control. It can control the frequencies in your brain.
Exactly.
You can feel down and out, and you hear good music, it will move you like, oh yeah, wow, yeah. Then you can hear music, a different type of music, and it can move you into a beast mentality.
Ready to fight.
Ready to fight. Aggressive. All right? You could be in a sad mood, and certain music will live you up, and certain music make you feel depressed. Oh. All right?
It's a spiritually enacted.
Yeah, it's a spiritual frequency of our, yeah, Judah.
Yeah, very seductive.
Yeah, it's a spiritual frequency vibration that affects your senses. All right? Let's say you are feeling kind of down and out, and you put on a James Brown. What's going to happen? You go, oh! You gonna start moving, because when you hear that James Brown, he makes you get up like, oh, do your thing. All right? So music have that effect on the people, especially the type of music that you want for the event. Just like when you're watching a movie, right? And a person is walking into a trap. Then you hear the music like, You watch Jason or Freddy, you hear the music, right? Like, oh, something's gonna happen, right? So that's what music does. It can move you to whatever position it wants you to move into. So he said, when you hear the sound of these different instruments, you bow down to it. And the people did it. They did it. Right? So today now, they're using something that you call
Beats.
frequency from what you call electromagnetic waves. Frequency. All right? And that's also in chips, in microchips, in your phones, and a lot of things that we use. It have those frequency where it can affect your thinking. All right? And this is real. Technology today is real. All right? Go ahead.
Verse 6. And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth, shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace.
So he said, and whoever doesn't do this, cast him into a burning fiery fire pit. Right? Just like today, when they come out and they said, whoever don't take the vaccine, you're going to be ostracized. You're going to be the problem of society. You're not going to be able to do nothing. And it's going to come to that point where it says in Revelation 13 and 16, it said, if any man doesn't have the mark of the beast, he wouldn't be able to buy or sell. Can't work, can't do nothing. So they're going to make it to a point where if you don't accept what the beast system is promoting, you're going to be ostracized. You're going to be the target of what? Of their resentment. All right? And this is what's going to happen. What this king was doing here. He was doing the same thing. All right? Go ahead.
Verse 7. Therefore, at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshiped the golden image.
That's what it boils on. Everything is based on what? Worship of Satan.
Right.
That's what it's geared to. Worshiping Satan in the different disguises that he put out. Okay? And today is the same thing. The whole object of what they're doing is to have you worship Satan right out. That's what it boils down to. Right? The New World Order. The New World Order is based on a satanic way of living. The whole object is to push the Most High out the way and pushing all the doctrine and philosophies and way of life of Satan. And if you don't accept those things, you're going to be a problem. Go ahead.
and worshiped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Verse 8. Wherefore, at that time, certain Chaldeans came near it and accused the Judeans.
Now, who were the Chaldeans?
The elite.
Right. There were people of Babylon and they were the elites. They were the elites of Babylon. Right? These were the ones that had all the grandeur ideas and brought forth all the programs and instituted all the great ideas to the mass of the people. All right? Now, just like today, you have the elites that's doing the same thing. Like Gates, the Rockefellers, Elon Musk, and all the different guys. They're projecting what they want for the mass of the people. Okay? How is Bill Gates going to push a vaccine, but yet he's not taking it, his children is not taking it, no, the elites are not taking it, but they want you to take it. Alright? So the Chaldeans were the elite rulers of the Babylonians. Just like today. In every society or rulership or kingdom, you have the elite rulers. Right? And in every kingdom and in every nation, you have an oligarchy. Everybody knows an oligarchy, right? What is an oligarchy?
Almost like a dictatorship ruled by I would say like a dictatorship.
It's a dictatorship ruled by family. It's by families. Yes.
Says oligarchy is a government a small group exercises control, especially for corrupt and selfish purposes.
Right. It's run by a small group, named by family members. All right? And it's done for corrupt purposes. Okay? The Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Rothschilds, it's a good bit of them. The Bush, the Oppenheimers, the Kennedys. All right? It's about 13 of them. Those are the main ones. But there are many more that controls and runs an entire nation of people and set forth the policies to control the masses of the people. And guess what? The masses of the people fall for it all the time. It was Rockefeller that came up with that nonsense of fossil fuel. There's no such thing as fossil fuel. I used to wonder too, like, how the hell could dinosaur create all that oil in the earth?
Right.
I used to wonder, like, why they came up with this bullcrap fossil fuel? Ain't no way dinosaur could cure millions and billions of oils for years in the earth.
Right.
Then the guy said, in order to mine oil, you have to dig down deep in the earth to get oil.
Right.
So you mean to tell me the dinosaurs went down in the earth and died too? There's no such thing as fossil fuel. That's all propaganda and a dogma and a bullcrap that Rockefeller set up by a bunch of scientists to push forth that doctrine. To have the people believe that if it's fossil fuel, eventually it's going to run out and we have to raise the price on oil. Yeah.
Is the story of Daniel similar to Noah and the dragon?
It's almost similar. It's almost similar. All right? So there's no such thing as fossil fuel. The oil, the Most High made the oil, and the oil was for what purpose?
Lubricating the earth.
For lubricating the oil. So when the earth moves and it shifts, it won't cause all these earthquakes and disasters in the earth. So by them constantly pumping oil of the earth, it's causing the place to shift and grind harder than when it could just easily slide on the plates. You understand? They know this too, but they don't give a damn. Okay? To them is, so what? We didn't make it. It's there. Let's take it. Abuse what's there. But the Most High made the oil for a purpose. Okay? And it's been a long time we've been using, it's been over 100 years we've been using oil. And there's still a lot more oil left in the earth, man. A lot more, man. In Venezuela, there's a lot of oil too. They say Venezuela has more oil than Saudi Arabia.
Nigeria too.
And Saudi Arabia been pumping oil for over 100 years now. And you know, in just one day alone, you could pump billions of oil. Because planes, trains, buses, cars, America alone, in one day alone, uses their capacity of oil that all nations uses put together. You understand? Because all the oil to fuel the planes, it takes a lot of oil to fuel those planes. All right? And to fuel those planes, the oil comes from New Jersey in the pipeline that runs to the airport. And to fuel one big plane, one big giant plane in JFK is $1 million. $1 million. And it takes about 2 hours to fuel that plane. And you got tons of those big giant planes. So somebody's making buku money. And then if you're fueling a smaller plane, let's say it's maybe $100,000 to fuel it. So all the oil is flowing through the airport, man, to fuel those planes. So all the oil is being used. That's why the domestic oils come from where? Where does the domestic oil come from? The domestic oil that America uses, where does it come from? It comes from Canada, right next door. Because you use more domestic oil on a regular basis, so you have to have easy access to get that domestic oil through the pipelines. Now your reserve oil comes from where? Overseas. Saudi Arabia and Nigeria. Less than 10% of the reserve oil comes from Saudi Arabia. But about 90% of your domestic oil comes from Canada, because you need that domestic oil every day to fuel this country. If this country is cut off 1 week of oil, it's a problem. So that's why they continue having the reserve oil keep pumping, because you use that domestic oil every day by the billions. Yeah. It feeds other states, but the pipeline that they have coming from Jersey comes from the others, I think from California, because Jersey is one of the main refineries on the East Coast.
Right.
All right. Then you have another one. Then you have one on the West Coast. But Jersey is the main pipeline on the East Coast that supplies all of New York and all the East Coast states. You understand? Yeah.
That's why they're fighting with the Native Americans over their land, and they want that pipeline.
They want a pipeline to pump the oil to various areas, because a lot of the pipeline through those areas. So that's why oil is such a vital thing. That's why China wants to get oil from Iran, because it's easier to transport the oil from Iran to China through the pipelines. You understand? And America is like, nope, trying to cut them off. Because if America control the oil, which they do, it's better for them.
Right.
Because it was the Rockefellers that came up with the idea of controlling the oil and set up all the different refineries and controlling it. So it's a big money business. It's power. So the oligarchs are the one that dictates the policies and the events to the masses in the earth. So whatever they put forth is going to come forward. All right? So the same thing the Chaldeans were doing. So they brought forth the Chaldeans. Let's go back to that again. Read that verse again.
7.
But let me show you what verse you read. Because, yeah, let me show you something real quick. Oil is a bloodline of the earth. So Saudi Arabia here.
Okay.
Saudi Arabia, Israel gets their oil from Saudi Arabia. Because Iran doesn't sell no oil to Israel. That's a no-no. Right? So they get the oil from Israel. America gets their oil from Saudi Arabia and also from Nigeria. All right? That's the what you call the reserve oil. Now the domestic oil that America has, it comes from Canada, in Canada, and it comes through the pipeline. So all through here are pipelines that runs from these states here, from Canada to America, runs down here. All right? And it goes into refineries that refine the oil. Like in Jersey, that's the refineries. I think it's one somewhere else on the East Coast, but California has the refineries too. I think in Louisiana, that refine all the oil that comes into the country. And then from there, it's distributed to the different areas of different states. Yeah.
They got to have one in Ohio.
In Ohio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iran is right next door to China. I didn't even realize it.
Right, it's right there, it's right upstairs.
Right.
Yeah. See, Iran, China here. So China could get their oil easily from Iran because they need oil too.
Right, yeah.
All right? So, and what Saudi Arabia is trying to do is try to cut off Iran from shipping their oil to China, because Saudi Arabia is working with the United States and the so-called Jews. Right? Saudi Arabia is America's little what you call BITCH. All right?
I know, China's to the right.
So it's a big business, and it's controlling the earth resources. Whoever controls the earth resources, you're king. You have power. You could dictate to the people what you want. Right? So it's very important when you have access to resources of the earth. And that's what we lost as a people. We lost that. So now we're dependent upon our enemies. But we're going to get it back in due time. You understand? Controlling the resource of the earth is very important. Very, very important. All right? So go ahead.
Now, Daniel chapter 3, verse 8. Wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Israelites. They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever.
So they're souping up there, they're boosting up his ego. Oh king, live forever. You see those Israelites out there? They're not bowing down or serving and worshiping you. They're doing their own thing. Go ahead.
Verse 10. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falleth not down and worship, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery flame.
So you see that? Cast them in a burning fiery furnace, man. All right? Go ahead.
Verse 12. There are certain Israelites whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee.
So they haven't regarded the king. So is anything wrong with that? When you don't regard the king and his evil purposes? No. So it's going to come today where we have to disregard what this country and government says to do. Because it's not righteous, it's evil. And when you don't do it, be prepared to suffer the consequences of being the target. Straight to the point, Zachariah.
I just want to say to Tam, you might have read the voice already. Speaking of, say for instance, when Nebuchadnezzar said all this stuff to them, and when they said, we won't be able to answer this matter, in other words, we say he cut first, he caught an attitude. Just like in today's world, we don't buy them, take these vaccines, they don't catch attitudes.
Right, okay, yeah. They're going to be mad with us. Why you Israelites don't want to take the vaccine? Why you Israelites don't want to accept what our government is saying? Because you're evil and you're wicked. We're not regarding you. You're not the Most High. So then they're going to come with all their attempts to persecute us. All right? In that persecution, it's going to be a lot of different things. Some of us might have to be on the run. Some of us might have to leave our families. Some might lose their jobs. Some might lose their life. It's going to come in many different ways. All right? I can't tell you per se how yours is going to come. You might have to leave your wife. Man, she don't care. She's going to force me. She's taking it. She's going to do opposite. And you might have to say, you know what? Goodbye. Gotta go, gotta go. Even your children. They're like, man, we ain't listening to you, daddy. They don't listen to you, daddy. And you might have to say, you know what? Okay, you have to cut ties. It's going to come down to that. Your family said, boy, you better go in there, boy, and you go take that vaccine and you do as your country said, brother. You become a patriotic American and serve your country. And you have to say, Mom, I love you, but see you, don't want to be you. The time is going to come. That time is coming. The lines have to be drawn. I'm telling you, it's going to start with your own family members. People that you know. And it's going to come to that point you have to say, listen, I love you, but I love the Most High more. It's going to come down to that. Reality is going to set in. Okay, go ahead.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, these men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods.
See?
Worship the golden image.
You see? Because we're not going to serve their God, so they're going to get offended by it. You Israelites don't want to serve our God? Okay, you're going to pay the price. Okay, you got a job? Okay, let's see, tomorrow you won't have that job. How about that? How about that, huh? Let's see. That's going to happen too. But always remember this here. The Most High have, hold that real quick. I got to stress this point because it's very important. The Most High is our refuge, brothers and sisters. When all hell and you think that your back is against the wall and you down and out, the Most High is our refuge and our shelter and our protector. All right? Let's go there. I'm going to share real quick. Go to 2nd Ezra, the 12th chapter. Real quick, I'm coming back to this here. 2nd Ezra, the 12th chapter. Second Ezra 12, and read the 46 and 47 verse.
We got 2nd Ezra chapter 12. Everybody got it? 2nd Ezra chapter 12, verse 46, you said?
Yeah, 46 and 47.
Okay. Be of good comfort, O Israel, and be not heavy, thou house of Jacob.
Right, and don't be heavy. What does he mean when he said don't be heavy?
Don't be worried.
Don't be worried. Don't let it be a burden to you. Oh my God, you're going crazy. What am I gonna do? All stressed out. Okay, go ahead.
For the highest have you in remembrance,
The Most High have you in remembrance. Go ahead.
and the mighty has not forgotten you in temptation.
See, the Most High is not gonna forget you in the time of temptation. Okay. Now let's go back to the book of Daniel.
Verse 13, we know Daniel chapter 3, verse 13. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king.
Right, and he brought me before the king, before your governors, before the mayors. Yeah, look at them. Look at these Israelites. They're rebellious against us. You're an infamy to our country. All right? They're going to derail you. All right? They're going to call you all sorts of names. All right? Go ahead.
Verse 14, Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, do not you serve my God?
See? That's going to come to a point. Why you don't want to serve our gods? But they're not going to call it gods. What are they going to call it? Yeah. Back then they call it gods. Today, they're not going to call it gods. What are some of the names that they're going to call it today? Huh? Policies. All right? Yes.
Systems.
Our system.
Mandates.
Our way of life.
Mandates.
Our mandate. Okay? That all falls under gods.
Yeah.
Okay? Go ahead.
Nor worship the golden image which I had set up. Verse 15. Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and decima, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made.
Yeah, when you hear that music I'm playing, you bow down and you worship. Because I'm playing some good music to move you. This music is going to move you. All right, go ahead.
Well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace.
See? And that's what they're going to do today. They're going to give you a choice. Either the red pill or the blue pill. All right? And you have to choose which one. All right? Go ahead.
And who is that power that shall deliver you out of my hand?
And that's what they're going to tell you today. And where is your God that's going to deliver you today when these things happen to you? They're going to try to make mockery of you and push it in your face. The scripture tells you in the Apocrypha, it said, they're going to scourge you and make mockery of you and test you. Right? To see if you really believe in the Most High. Let me find that scripture real quick. I'm going to get it and show you. I think it's in Wisdom of Solomon. But continue read on.
Verse 16. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our power whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace.
So what he said, they already had that conviction and faith that the Most High is able to deliver them out of the fiery furnace. Imagine that. That's why the Most High said, the just shall live by his faith. Yes.
But the best part, he said, we are not careful to answer because we don't know the outcome.
Right.
Then he went right to Most High's will.
Right.
That's the Most High's will.
The Most High's will,
He said,
man.
we're not careful to answer because we don't know the outcome yet.
Right. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. If it be so, our power whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace. And he will deliver us out of thine hands, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy God.
So he said, we ain't serving your God. We ain't bowing down to you, man. Hell no. No to the no. Okay? Go ahead.
Nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury.
He was angry now. He's angry now. He's like, what? What? Huh. This is it. This is it. He must have came out and said, you niggas?
And the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yeah, his visage changed. He got darker and angrier. Must have saw that Darth Vader image over him. I can feel you. All right, go ahead.
Therefore he spake and commanded that they should be heated. The furnace 7 times more than it was ought to be heated.
He said, turn that heat up. Turn it up. That's crazy, man. When you have to face something like that. Go ahead.
Verse 20. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
And they're going to do that. They're going to use their military to enforce a lot of their things too.
That's right.
Okay? They got DARPA on hand ready to enforce the chip. The chip is being made by the Pentagon, the military, and ready to be distributed. All right? Go ahead.
And to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace.
Check that out. Into a burning fiery furnace, man. Okay? Go ahead.
Therefore, because the king's commandment urgent, and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Check that out. It was so hot. It burned the men that tried to put them inside of it, man. Okay, go ahead.
And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire?
Right. So he's like looking like, wait a minute. I put 3 of them in there. Well, what is the other person doing in there? All right, go ahead.
Then answered and said, they answered and said to the king, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose.
He said, I see 4 men loose in there. All right.
Walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of the Most High.
And he said the 4th one is like the Son of the Most High. Yeah.
When the scripture said his visage was changed, that's like Satan came in.
Yeah, Satan came, yeah.
And when this said, it looks like the Son of Man, it is Satan in him saying, that looks like the Christ.
Yeah.
Because only he's going to know that.
Right, right. Yeah, Satan came into him at that time, man. And Satan said, do what you got to do now. All right. So he said, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of the Most High. That's who it is. All right. The Most High is going to look out for us, man. All right? Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Just like now, right there, like then. The Most High is watching. He's testing us right now. Same thing. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. We all know that.
Go ahead.
Verse 26. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither.
See what he said? You servants of the Most High, come forth. All right, go ahead.
Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire. And the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors began gathering together. So these men upon whose body the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them.
Nothing happened to them. Nothing, man. Okay, go ahead.
Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
So he even had to acknowledge the Most High. All right, go ahead.
Who has sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him.
See, so he knew about the angel. How he knew about the angel? But the Sadducees don't believe in angels. You had Israelites that know they're Israelites, knew the law, but yet didn't believe in angels. But this a heathen, he said the Most High sent his angels to deliver you. Ain't this something? Pharisees and Sadducees, one believe in angels, one don't believe there's no such thing as angels. But yet you're an Israelite. But here, this heathen here said, look, the Most High sent his angel to deliver you. Oh, he knows that. And he's not an Israelite. All right? Because even David tells you in the Psalms 34 and 7, the angel of the Most High encompassed round about them that fear the Most High. The angel of the Most High surrounds you. All right? Go ahead.
And has changed the king's words and yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any power except their own power. Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the Most High power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces.
Check that out. He made a hell of a decree, man. Anybody that speak against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you're going to be cut to pieces. Go ahead.
You read that again, Daddy. Therefore, I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the Most High power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces.
That's a hell of a decree, man. All right, go ahead.
And their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other power that can deliver after this sort.
He said there's no other power that can deliver from what you just seen here. And that's true. If you put somebody put you in a fiery furnace, man, and you nothing burn, your hair, nothing, that means the Most High is the power. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Fire is a spirit, and water is a spirit. Fire, the Most High can make fire burn in water stronger than the water, or make the fire stronger than the fire. The water stronger than the fire. So we have to always remember that that's in His control.
That's
we don't
His
have
control.
to fear it.
Right.
All He's got to tell the fire is don't burn.
Don't burn.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's
Just
it.
by the word alone, man.
By His word alone.
Most High have that power,
we just
man.
gotta remember that.
Yeah. And that's why it's good to have these scriptures in your mind.
Yeah.
That's why it said meditate upon these things, man. Because the Most High word is real, brothers. Okay? The Most High word is real. And once you, like, how shall I say, he that believeth on me, as the scripture said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living waters, man. All right? Continue.
Verse 30. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon.
All right. Now from there, let's go to 2nd Ezra, the 7th chapter. We're going to read that chapter from 1 to 22.
Second,
2nd Ezra,
Second.
the 7th chapter.
read Reading out of 2nd Ezra, chapter 7, verse 1. And when I had made an end of speaking these words.
I mean the 9th chapter, sorry, the 9th chapter. 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. Let's start from the 1st verse.
Reading out of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made.
Right? And this is the time we're living in. We're living in that time. So he told Ezra, measure the time diligently in itself. How do you measure the time diligently in itself? What's another word for measuring the time? What's another way of measuring the time?
Calendars, right?
Count.
Calendars count.
You count and you check it. The calendars from the time. From the time that he spoke to him to the time that we're living in now. From the time he told Ezra about these prophecies, from the time that he was living in. All right? So he was counting and measuring the time of the events that's being unfolded. All right? So from the time that Ezra wrote this to now, if we measure the time, what time are we living in now? The end. The end that Ezra saw. The end that he spoke about. Because during his time it wasn't that end, it wasn't the end. But now we could say now is the end. All right? And how could we say now is the end? Zechariah.
Yo, what's going on is taking place now.
I was going to use the scripture. Daniel tells you that information shall increase.
Right.
The age we're living in is the information age.
Right.
And it's the end.
Right. Because back then, the technology that we using today wasn't back then. So all the high-tech technology and knowledge that we have today, they didn't have back then. Back then, they couldn't put up on your Google phone and get access to information and everything. All right? Now you could put up Google and say, give me that scripture that says the Most High hates. And it comes up. Before, 20 years ago, you had to go find, look up in the concordance. Now you just Google. Who was the king of Babylon in 586 BC? Boop, it pops up. So we live in an era where everything is marginalized or right to your convenience. High tech. We're seeing all the evidence of everything that's being manifold today. All right? 500 years ago, could you change your sex and become a man to a woman? Not even 100 years ago. All right? But now you could do it. Now if you want to become Belinda, you could be Belinda with no problem. All right? You could have everything. You could have the boobs. You could have everything. You could have the nose, the eyes, everything, man. And talking to you, hi. Like, huh? Yeah. Vice versa now. You understand? So we living in that era where Daniel spoke, knowledge shall increase. Knowledge shall run to and fro in the earth. Yeah, La Brian.
Yeah, you could pick the gender of your child before they born.
Yeah. You go to the doctor and say, listen, I want the child to have blue eyes, blonde hair. And he could say, how you want it? Presto, bam. It's right there.
Can I
Yeah.
just read that scripture?
Yeah, yeah.
Daniel 12, verse 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book.
And it was sealed for a while.
Right.
Go ahead.
Even to the time of the end.
It wasn't the end the time of Daniel. Go ahead.
Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased.
So
This is
knowledge
the end.
on history, knowledge on technology, knowledge on everything has increased.
Your body.
All right? So everything has increased from the time of the prophets, from the time 200 years ago, even 100 years ago. All right? 100 years ago, technology has increased tremendously, man. Tremendously. Yeah.
I just want to say pertaining to that, like I said, technology they didn't have back then what they have now. The only good part is what this verse says. I'm the same yesterday, back then, today and forever. That's what I want to say. Hebrews 13:8. So
All right.
we got that. That's
All right.
what's important.
But the access to everything today is so easy now. So you got to know we live in the last days and what's taking place in earth, the events, the wars, the earthquakes, all the different wars. And then look, we served 400 years of slavery. How much longer could you go? If you serve 400 years of slavery, you could serve another 400 years again? Hell no. The Most High, that's why the Most High said, measure the time. When Abraham said, know for a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land, and they shall serve them and afflict them 400 years. We have served our 400 years of affliction and slavery. And it's up. Now we could see the end result. And the Most High said, after will I judge that nation. And we're seeing the results of it now. And when we read this chapter, you're going to see exactly what Ezra was talking about. Let's continue.
We got 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes,
When you shall be seeing earthquakes, go ahead.
and uproars of the people,
Uproars of the people, go ahead.
then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of these things from the days that were before thee.
See, before you, before Ezra. All right, go ahead.
Even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end.
And everything has a beginning and it has an end. Okay? So, we had slavery, we served slavery, it has to end. All wars have to end. Okay? Everything that has a beginning has to end. It can't continue on forever. This rulership is not going to continue forever.
Right.
It had a beginning and it's going to have an end. And now we're seeing the end of it. I'll give you an example of it too. Look at Afghanistan. Well, Biden got up there and the whole world saw America's stupidity. All right? That even you have his own people saying he should be impeached. He needs to resign. You got Republicans saying, listen, he needs to go. They said, but if he goes, Kamala Harris is going there, so she has to go too. So the opposition of them is saying he has to go because he has betrayed America. So the whole world is seeing this now. What happened in Afghanistan, and Biden is just there looking stupid. But the Most High had them divided. They're divided. And all this happened under Bush. Bush is the one that caused that problem. He was the one that went and let off all the Taliban from jail, thousands of them, and went and made a deal with them. So now he's blaming Biden for that situation. But all of them need to be blamed for it because all of them justified going to Afghanistan back in 2001. Okay? So I don't give a damn. Let them go against one another. Because their whole attempt is to come against us. So the Most High have to have them divided so they can be fighting amongst themselves while we have a little reprieve.
That's right. Lord praise it.
All right? Go ahead.
And the end, well, give me that again. 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 5. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest.
And the end is manifest. You could see it now. I know Yahshua could see it. It's manifest. All right, go ahead.
Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonders and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith.
And by faith. You see that? By faith. All right, go ahead.
Whereby ye have believed.
See? Whereby you have believed. Go ahead.
Shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. Then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways.
Those that refuse the Most High, that hate the Most High. All right, go ahead.
And they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments.
Mm-hmm.
For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me.
Mm-hmm.
And they that have loathed my law while they had yet liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it.
But despise it. They
The
despise the
same
Most
must
High.
know it after death, like pain.
Check that out. The same must know it after death by pain. What does it mean by that? The same must know it after death by pain. What is that death? The second death. The nuclear destruction, the fire. All right? Go ahead.
For such, what did you
13.
do? 13 slide. And therefore, but thou not curious how therefore be not thou curious how the ungodly shall be punished. And when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, who the world is, and for whom the world is created.
Check that out. And for whom the world is created, for the righteous. Right? Go ahead.
I have said,
No.
then answered I and said, I have said before, and now do speak, and I will speak it also hereafter, that there be many more of them which perish than of them which shall be saved.
See, more people is going to perish than those that's going to be saved in these last days. All right, go ahead.
Verse 16, like as a wave is greater than a drop. And he answered me, saying, like as the field is, so is also the seed. As the flower be, such are the colors also. Such as the workman is, such also is the work. And as the husbandman is himself, so is his husbandry also. For it was the time of the world. And now, when I prepared the world, which was not yet made, even for them to dwell in that now live, no man spake against me.
So what does he mean by when he says, and now when I prepared the world which was not yet made, what was he talking about?
Foundation.
Read again. He says, and now when I prepared the world which was not yet made. It's going back to the time of Genesis.
Right.
In Genesis, when he made the earth, and it was void with nobody yet. He didn't make man yet.
Nobody to speak.
All right? Okay? Read that verse again.
Verse 18, and now when I prepared the world, which was not yet made, even for them to dwell in that now live, no man spake against me.
Nobody spake against the Most High because he didn't make man yet. He wasn't there yet. Keep it. What we know, Zachariah. Hold on. Go ahead.
For then everyone obeyed. But now the manners of them which are created in this world that is made are corrupted.
Yeah. Now the man that he have made now talking a lot of ish against the Most High. Now they're talking a lot. They got so much to say. Where is God? If he's a God, why does he manifest himself? Why do we have to live in a world of corruption if there's a God? All right? They try to make every false accusation against the Most High. It's off?
No, it's still wrong.
All right? Go ahead. Read that verse again.
Right. 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 19. For then everyone obeyed. But now the manners of them which are created in this world that is made are corrupted by a perpetual seed.
By perpetual seed. It's a long, ongoing generational seed of a bunch of reprobates. A bunch of scumbags. To put it plain and simple. That's what they are. The Most High said, menstruous woman shall bring forth what? Monsters. A bunch of monsters. That's all we have today. A bunch of monsters, man. All right? Go ahead.
And by a law which is unsearchable, rid themselves. So I considered the world, and behold, there was peril because of the devices that were come into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw and spared it greatly, and have kept me a grape of the cluster.
And who's that grape of the cluster?
Israel.
Israel, the elect of the Most High. Go ahead.
And a plant of a great people.
Mm-hmm.
Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain.
That's a beautiful scripture, man.
It
It's a cold scripture.
Nice.
It's cold, but it's beautiful too, man.
Let them all die.
You know what I mean? Let the multitude perish that was born in vain. Some people was born in vain.
All praise, man.
That's cold, man.
is.
Some people are just born in vain just to die.
It's sad, but it's true.
It's sad, but it's true. Read that verse again.
Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain.
Most High said they was born in vain. Go ahead.
And let my grape be kept, and my plant, for with great labor have I made it perfect.
All right. Okay. From there, let's go to 2nd Ezra, the 14th chapter. All right. So some people was born in vain, and the Most High said they were born in vain. But the Most High made them, but for a purpose. All right. 2nd Ezra 14:22.
Read out of 2nd Ezra, chapter 14, verse 22. But if I have found grace before thee, send the Holy Spirit into me, and I shall write all that has been done in the world since the beginning, which were written in the law, in thy law.
So Ezra was speaking to the Most High, and the Most High was going to show Ezra and talk to Ezra about everything concerning Israel, what we got to go through while we're in this condition, and the different books that he's going to give Ezra. All right? So read a verse again, Karaz Alabran.
Read out of 2nd Ezra, chapter 14, verse 22. But if I have found grace before thee, send the Holy Spirit into me, and I shall write all that hath been done in the world since the beginning,
Since the beginning. All right? Go ahead.
which were written in thy law, that man may find thy path, and that they which will live in the latter days may live.
So he was also speaking about in the latter days too. So the Most High opened his spirit and showed him back then, the midst of time and the latter days. So he saw it, but he didn't live to see it.
To help us live.
To help us live to see it now. So we have to bring it out clearer now.
Right.
Because he was seeing part of it, even though he wrote it.
Right.
All right? Go ahead. Yeah.
That's what the last precept said, which will live in the latter days, that they may live.
How are we going to live?
Yeah,
Well, we
yeah.
read this and understand it
Right.
and bring it forth.
Fine.
All right? Go ahead.
Verse 23. And he answered me, saying, Go thy way, gather the people together, and say unto them that they seek thee not for 40 days.
Don't seek him for 40 days. Going back to Moses again. When Moses went up into the mountain. He said, don't seek him for 40 days. So sometimes the Most High have to isolate you. So that spirit of the Most High could dwell in you to receive and get all the information that the Most High wants to give you. All right? And the Most High is something else, man. How the Most High deals with us, man. He deals with us in different ways, man. You know? And when the Most High put that information in you, man, and you come back, you're like a whole different person, man. You know? Go ahead.
Verse 23, no, verse 24. But look, I'll prepare thee many box trees, and take with thee Serach, Deborah, Salamis, Echonis, and Asiel. These 5 which are ready to write swiftly.
So they had to write fast. These 5 men, they had to write. They was writing everything down. So people say, oh, the Israelites couldn't write. They were illiterate. People always talk a lot of trash, man. How we couldn't read or write? But the Most High said, take 5 men with you that's going to write these things down swiftly. So while Ezra spake, they were writing down all the information. Writing. All right? Go ahead.
Verse 25, and come hither, and I shall light a candle of understanding in thine heart.
What does that mean? He's going to light a candle of understanding in your heart. What does that mean? He's going to put it in his mind. He's going to open up his mind. His spirit is going to open it up and give him that understanding. Go ahead.
Which shall not be put out till the thing be performed which thou shalt begin to write. And when thou hast done some things, shalt thou publish.
The Most High says, some things you're going to publish. All right, go ahead.
And something shalt thou show secretly to the wise. Tomorrow, this hour, shalt thou begin to write. Then went I forth as he commanded, and gathered all the people together, and said, hear these words, O Israel. O our father at the beginning were strangers in Egypt, from whence they were delivered, and received the law of life, which they kept not, which ye also have transgressed after them. That was the land, even the land of Zion, parted among you by lot. But your fathers and ye yourselves have done unrighteousness, and have not kept the ways which the highest commanded you.
So he's going back to the beginning and dropping the history on us. All right, go ahead.
Verse 32, and for as much as he is a righteous judge, he took from you in time the thing that he had given you.
Check that out. And what did the Most High give us? Everything. Gave us everything, man. Everything you could think the Most High gave us. All right, go ahead.
Verse 33, and now you are here, and your brethren among you. Therefore, if so be that ye will subdue your own understanding and reform your hearts, ye shall be kept alive. And after death, ye shall obtain mercy.
When he said after death, you should obtain mercy, what does he mean by that?
Eternal life and not torment.
Right. And when you come back,
Right, right.
when you come back, and after death, you shall receive mercy. All right? So he's showing you have to go through these changes as a nation.
Right.
Okay? Go ahead. Go ahead, Brian. 35.
35, for after death shall the judgment come, when we shall live again.
See? When we shall live again. All right? Check that out. You see that, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then shall the names of the righteous be manifest, and the works of the ungodly shall be declared. Let no man therefore come unto me now, nor seek after me these 40 days. So I took the 5 men as he commanded me, and we went into the field and remained there. And the next day, behold, a voice called me, saying, Ezra, open thy mouth and drink that I give thee to drink.
See? So the Most High said, but was he really drinking? No. The Most High was giving him wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So the Most High said, drink. All right? Go ahead.
Then opened I my mouth, and behold, he reached me a full cup, which was full as it were with water, but the color of it was like fire.
Fire. So that's the words of the Most High, the Spirit of the Most High. Wisdom. But it was like fire. And he said, drink it. Because just like Jeremiah said, thy words in me is like fire. All right? Go ahead.
And I took it and drank. And when I had drank of it, my heart uttered understanding.
See, his mind, his brain uttered understanding. All right? Go ahead.
And wisdom grew in my breast.
See, and wisdom grew. So understanding, wisdom, go ahead.
For my spirit strengthened my memory.
So his memory increased. The Most High increased his memory. All right, go ahead.
And my mouth was open and shut no more. The highest gave understanding unto the 5 men, and they wrote a wonderful vision of the night that were told, which they knew not. And they sat 40 days, and they wrote in the day.
For 40 days it was writing, just writing. All right, go ahead.
And at night they ate bread. As for me, I spake in the day, and I held not my tongue at night. In 40 days they wrote 204 books.
See, in 40 days, they wrote 204 books. So you think we just got 67 books? Plus the Apocrypha? Yeah, a lot of books, man. It's a lot of books, man. All right? Read that verse again.
Verse 43. As for me, I spake in the day, and I held not my tongue at night. In 40 days they wrote 204 books. And it came to pass, when the 40 days were fulfilled, that the highest spake, saying, the first that thou hast written, published openly.
He said, publish openly. Go ahead.
That the worthy and unworthy may read it. But keep the 70 last, that thou mayest deliver them only to such as be wise among the people. For in them is the spring of understanding, the fountain of wisdom, and the stream of knowledge. And I did so.
All right. So we have a lot of books. This is just one of the many books that we have here that the Most High gave us. All right. So he said some publish and some we give only to the wise. All right. So I want to just hit two more scriptures and we're going to close out the class. Let's go to Matthew's Matthew's 24. Start from Matthew 24 and 13.
Out of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 13. But he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved.
So we have to endure to the end in all things. Whatever we go through, we have to endure to the end, and the same shall be saved. All right, go ahead.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world.
Now, when Yahweh Shai said, and the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. Yes, Zachary, you raise your hand. Tell me what.
I would say that's pertaining to as preach the word all four corners of the land. That's what we're talking
True, but
What was your question? What was your question?
the question is, and the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness. Have we as Israelites preached this gospel
No.
in all the world? So how have we done it? How has it been done? How was Yahushua referring to us that this was going to be done? Because he said, remember, and the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness. Have we done that physically and went out to all nations? How have we done it?
Physically, we haven't, but the internet is going out. So
That's what he was referring to. That's what he was talking about.
Right.
Through the means of the internet.
And even though it's doing that, you're still getting pockets of people who haven't heard. But as we're brought up to kings and magistrates and the media and the powers, then it's going to
Right.
go out to every single.
Because this message has been brought up more through social media
Right.
than us going to different places and teaching.
Right.
So that's what he was referring to. Yes,
So this is how to let you know that Christianity is not really the truth, because Christianity has been the world's biggest religion for how many years now?
Thousands.
It's still here.
for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years.
And we're still tired.
Right.
The end hasn't come yet.
And the end hasn't come. So it's been done through the internet, through social media. All right, because within the last 10 years, the popularity of Israel has grew within the last 10 years.
The key word in this scripture, in this verse says, and this gospel, the gospel that Christianity preaching ain't this
It
gospel.
ain't the gospel.
It's this gospel.
This is the gospel. This is what we're teaching. Yeah, it's this. So that's what he was referring to us.
Right, right.
You understand? Because what they was preaching is some BS, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some lies. All right, so read a verse again. Read a verse again.
13, brother.
Go, verse 14.
Oh, my bad.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come.
Go ahead.
When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoke of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand.
What was he referring to when he said this here? When you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel, what was he talking about?
That idol worshiping of the idol of the Nebuchadnezzar.
No, not so much that.
He gave a certain amount of days that was gonna, the 1,200 whatever days. The end, when you see the end of that, you're gonna begin to know that.
Right. And then it started when Titus Vespasian
Right.
came in the temple and destroyed Jerusalem. That was the abomination of desolation, beginning with that point. When Titus and his son Vespasian came and destroyed Jerusalem. That was the beginning point of the abomination of desolation. All right? So read that verse again.
When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothing. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days.
And why was he saying that? Woe to them that are with child. Why was he saying that? Woe to them that are with child.
I see for us. Say something?
Straight to the point, Jacob. When he
So
said,
all what's going on right now is like, if you have a child right now, it's going to be rough. You saw about earlier, you might be the wife,
Right. Right. But why did he say back then, woe to them? Because he was referring to back then, and he was also alluding up to today's standards too, to today's day too. Yeah, you had your...
Dangerous.
Right. But what else, LeBron? Yeah.
It would be a hindrance to give away where you went.
True. And what else?
Right, that's what I was about to say.
Right. But what he was saying too, read that verse again.
And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days.
Right, because it's going to be hard.
Right.
Food, as far as food, taking care of, give them the right nutrients, nutrients, all right, and the circumstances that's going to take place. You have a child, they want to give your child a juicy juice. You can't say that word. Say that
I know,
word.
it's crazy.
You gotta take your child to have to do all that crap to get the juice. You know what I mean? And then what's coming? They try to enforce martial law. All right? Yeah. Yeah, we're in the womb. They're doing all these evil experiments. You know what I mean? So he said, woe unto you that give child in those days, man. That it was hell back then, and it's going to be hell again in these last days. Because this is a time of Jacob's trouble. Back then, we were fleeing from the Romans, and they were killing us, man. All right? Those of us that didn't give in to the Romans, they were killing us. And those that gave in went into slavery under the Romans. All right? So it was pure hell. All right? And it's going to come back to that time again. All right? Yeah.
That was when we was talking about Daniel, and you had asked about the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel. This is Daniel 9:23. And at the beginning of thy supplications, the commandment came forth, and I am come to show thee, for thou art greatly beloved. Therefore understand the matter and consider the vision. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people, and upon thy holy city to finish the transgression, and to make an end of the cities.
Right. Right. So it was back then, and it's going to be linked up again to today's standards. All right. And the abomination of desolation too is that damn mark of the beast chip system. All right. Because what they're trying to implement, man, is something totally against demonic, man. And I said they're trying to make people to be worshipers of them, and to have you go astray from worshiping the Most High. All right? Yeah. Go ahead, La Brian.
But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither or the Sabbath day.
Right. So back then was the same. And same thing today again. Pray that your flight be not in the winter or in the Sabbath. All right? Some of us might have to get up and flee in the Sabbath, the winter. You understand? Like I said, everybody's situation might be different. If you live upstate, your situation might be different. You live down south in the wilderness, might be a little different. But I tell you what, living in the city is one of the worst places to live in the time of when all hell break loose, man. Right? Because when Negroes can't eat, they ain't gonna rob the white man. Yo, homeboy got food. They looking at you. And Negroes will rob you and your household. They ain't gonna rob the enemy. They will watch you and, yeah, homeboy got food and water. Yo, let's go get him. And when Negroes can't eat, they become like wolves and vampires, man. Savages. You don't feed a Negro for 3 days, man. He thinks the world is over. Nigga think a Negro ain't eat for a couple hours. Yo, I'm starving. You're not starving, Negro. I hate when people say that. You didn't eat in a couple hours. I'm starving. You're not starving. You don't know what starvation is. None of us know what starvation is, man. So when people say that word, I'm starving, that word shouldn't be your vocabulary. You should say, I'm hungry, but not starving. Because we don't know what starvation is, man. When you haven't eaten in 1 week, 2 weeks, then you could say that's starving. But if you ate a couple hours ago, you can't be starving. Come on, man. All right? Go ahead.
Verse 21, for then shall be great tribulation.
See? For then shall be great tribulation. All right, go ahead.
Such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be.
Right, because even you're going to have Edomites that's going against the government. They're going to rebel against it. Listen, it's going to be an uprising, civil anarchy. They're going to go against their government. Republicans against Democrat, independents. They're going to buck against the system, man. And when they start enforcing them, they're going to say, look, give me liberty or give me death. Here it is, baby. Let's rock and roll. And it's going to come down. Right? And the Most High is going to do that too, so it could take some of the heat off of us too. All right? Because they're going to rebel against their own system and government. You have a lot of them that are against what this government is doing. A lot of them, man. They're more against what this government is doing than what our people are. And they're going to fight like hell. They're going to go in that closet. They're going to pull out that... Yeah, they're going to pull out that my little friend. Meet my little friend. All right? And my little friend is going to go to work. All right? Yeah.
Some that now they're increasingly getting more embarrassed.
Yeah.
The divisions are more prominent now.
Yeah.
So the insurrections, they're embarrassed as a nation.
Yeah. The whole world is seeing their shame, man. The whole world is seeing America's shame, man. So they're looking bad. So with that, I end the class and I say shalom.
Let me read the last 23.
Yeah, okay,
23
yeah.
is the meat of the whole chapter.
Yeah, read it.
I'm sorry, 22. And except those days be shortened, there should be no flesh, he said.
Right.
But for the elect's sake, those days shall be
So the
shortened.
Most High had to put an end to this thing quick and fast, because if it goes the way it's going, there ain't gonna be no flesh left to save, man. The way they're moving, man, they're moving on a diabolical level, man. An extreme diabolical level. All right? So that's all praises to the Most High. I say shalom and Kwam Yasharallah.